All right, so this is just going to be basically about what you need, not about content specifically, but more of what you need to make sure the content can be published. Should very much linked. But on an overscale of it, we have minutes here. There's three basic concepts of the release forms. There's copyright, likeness, and privacy. Most people do not have to deal with privacy. Well, unless you're making an event ad. But if the person making the event ad is the event steward, they inherently are giving that permission to put their information on the ad. However, if you are making the event ad, making an event ad, for instance, but you are not the steward yourself, you need to get the personal identification information release form filled out, which is not there. There is actually a form, but you don't actually have to use the form itself. An email from the person. I have an example draft in my thing, which I use for kingdom level stuff and for a Black Star. I'll show y'all. I can copy the wording for y'all real quick and show y'all. I'm going to share this. Okay, can y'all all see that?
We see the screen, but it is very small words.
Okay, let me swap screens then, or zoom in if I can. There. It's a 1440p screen, so I'm used to reading it in tiny text. Sorry.
That's better.
Is there a possible way for you to copy and paste that into the chat so that we may copy and paste that to save it to our devices?
I can show you the actual form itself, but you don't need all of this. You don't actually need, because they're obviously in your case, it wouldn't be like the SCA email. It would be a personal email, but it doesn't matter for this. You can just take that part of it out. I can forward this to you. What would be the easiest way to do that? It's all in the form. I can show you the form. There actually is a form you can get them to fill out too. But an email with them responding where they fill it out is all you actually need. But if you email me, I will send you this text, or just paste it into the chat if you want. That work for you?
Yeah, that's what I had originally asked.
Oh, sorry. I have bad hearing sometimes.
Thank you.
Obviously change Black Star to whatever, to like Moonshadow event ad or something like that. And the bottom part, as an officer, is not incorrect. If you are an event steward, you are a deputy of the Seneschal. So that part would not need to be changed.
Really trying to do like there's other animals. Yeah. Whenever you choose your starting cards, there was
Okay, so what I was going to show you here is if you go to the Chroniclers page under Forms and Resources, there's 3 manuals. I added this one today, Release Forms Handbook. There is stuff about the forms in, I believe, the Society Chroniclers one, but this specifically covers release forms only. So
Where can we find this handbook?
I just linked back to the society page, but I put it on my chronicler page and on Ansteorra subpage. So if you go to the office of the chronicler under the main page under forms and resources, I have it linked under manuals.
All right, awesome, thank you.
So if you go there, and this is April 2022, straight from the society page. There's not a newer version of it. So collecting, it goes over a lot of stuff, but it does have a good example of. So this is that portrait thing I was talking about earlier as an example. So the one on the right is a portrait for sure. It may be a public space at an SA event, but you are specifically saying that, in this case, Baroness Souffle, spelled amazingly, is the chatelaine at any barony, right? You're calling them out by name, and it's obviously referencing them. The one on the left is a just picture of two people having a lull in the day. And who took the picture? Or I guess it's still listing them by name, but actually, why did it list two people? Oh yeah, no, that is right. So you should still put them by name, but it's not a portrait. So you don't need their permission for the model form and the left one. You still need to call them out by name, but you don't need the model permission form specifically. The one on the right does, because it's an official off. It does it better without describing it. It's all here. It's kind of, some of it is subjective, I think. But at the very end, they specifically state, if in doubt, get a permission form. Just do it. So like, if it features one person or small group that is used with which their identity is unmistakable. Yes. So like you're directly calling out, this is this person in the photo. They're in it, but it's not in the same way. So that's why I'd rather just get the model forms and be safe. If you're going to do that, of people that are obviously the only people in the photo, versus just like Ansteorra fighters, 27 people in the photo. Very different situation. Okay, so the big thing is for physical print, you need a form for everything. For any model of photograph release, for anything that's going physically printed officially, like the Black Star or Black Star special editions, I have to get a form for everything. For web use only, like since most local ones are not printed at all, physically, officially, like if you print it yourself, that's on you. But if it just stays as a PDF officially, you don't need it unless it's a portrait style picture for the model release. You still need the photographer's permission. That doesn't change. But you don't need a model release when it's not portrait. But you see like how hard it is to kind of figure out like which is portrait, which is not. That's why I just rather err on the side of get the release and just be safe. I have a note here about like activity versus this is a person specifically as the description of the photo. Okay, as far as permission goes, in this exact document, it calls out specifically that emailed forms are acceptable as a form of signing if it is the person referenced in the form, sending you the thing. They don't have to actually fill out the space if they can't get it to work. As long as it's coming from their email address and it's them sending it to you, it counts as being signed in that case. Just like the Seneschal sending in an event ad counts as them signing it functionally. So that's something to note. Like they don't have to physically sign it to actually do it, as long as it's sent in by them through something that like email or something that can be saved or referenced to. Okay, and there was the privacy thing for so anything that is considered privacy is modern name, addresses, phone numbers, personal email addresses. Like your society one is not private, and links to personal social media profiles. So what that one means is that could actually become an issue with the wiki pages. But that's why they get general releases from the people that have wiki pages to allow all of that stuff. It gives full creative control over there, so there's no issue with linking to like, this is where I put my art, this is where I do that. That's okay because they filled out that form. And you can't fill one out for the wiki page that's only for the wiki page. It has to be a generic all release form to actually get given a wiki page. But the actual forms are in the back of here if you're interested. So this is the official model release from society. There's that. Obviously, most people, it's preference to get like the top one checked, but doesn't always happen. Combined model release, which I believe is here. This for photos as well. That's a better one to use if you can do it. Creative one, obviously. There's creative release. Photographer general form. So the better box is the green one. That's the database that's being worked on right now. That only is going to contain where they do like anything they take can be used for general SCA purposes. And then there's the videographer forms that's dual purpose. So if someone's taking video and photos and videos, you want them to fill this one out. Or if it's just videos, you have to use this one. Here's the personal one. So the email counts, but this says the same functional thing. So see, you got modern name, society name, and you give permission to put these things like in the newsletter. Like for the directory would be the second one. But all that can be done with an email, but for a specific purpose. It's pretty straightforward. You just got to modify it to be for its purpose. As long as you have this top part here, that's the critical portion. So it identifies their real name, their society name, what they're allowing permission to use, and where to put it. That's basically all that is on this form. Okay, does anybody have any specific questions or scenarios regarding waivers or release forms? Sorry, not waivers. I keep saying that word. Oh God, Northkeep. I'm gonna look your name up.
So I have previously had had somebody submit a YouTube video of themselves with their instruments, like a bardic entry, for people, for whoever reads the newsletter to be able to do that. I had reached out and I was given the creative form that kind of goes over a little bit of all of it, like if it was photo or video or what it was. So now knowing that there's a photography and videography, would that YouTube video of that person then need to be the videographer form, or is the creative
Yeah, they
works?
would need to fill out the model slash videographer, well, the model form
Okay.
for them appearing with their likeness in the video.
Okay.
Now, as far as what they're, depending upon what they're actually doing in the video, you might also still need the creative permission from the original author, or if it's them, from them for that. So there's
Okay.
the model portion, there's the creative portion, and then there's possibly even a third person, depending on who's actually taking the video.
Okay.
If they set the camera up, you don't need a third person, it's just them.
Okay.
But if someone stood there filming them, that's them filming versus just pressing a button then just watching. That's not them filming at that point.
Okay.
But if someone's actually monitoring the camera and doing this stuff with it, that's an independent person that is part of that process. That is their video functionally for that reason. So you would need their something from them as well.
Okay.
I think I know who you're talking.
Am I allowed to say names?
As long as it's SCA name, there's no issue.
Vitalik?
Nope, don't know that one. I was thinking of someone else. But they got
That's what
one
I was
from
thinking of.
somebody. For the Voices of the Star. Okay. Yeah, it's Kuro. Do you know a Kuro? Kuro Shah?
I
Kurosh?
I do not.
Yeah. He sent the video in for the Voice of the Star. He needs to fill out the model release still, though. Not just the creative one, although I don't think he's the original. I'm still working with him on it. Videos get weird. You have to do a lot more than just take some text.
Okay, I will inform him the next time that he sends something in.
Now, if he fills it in like all my videos are okay one time, you're good to go. So unless he's specifying like this specific video, and he just checks like the one box.
I believe
Actually,
he
no,
did
'cause
fill. I
the
believe
creative stuff
one
is
of
all
the.
separate. I know. I think no. I don't think you can do that for video either. I think it's held the same way as creative works are. You have to get permission for each one individually.
Okay.
So, yeah, I think you have to get one per video just because it's not a photograph. It's a lot more, there's more to it than just a single picture.
Okay, I figured as much. He did also ask the last time I had him fill out a form, so I figured I would also ask here.
Yeah, I would say each one would need its own. Now, he can fill out a model release for himself one time and be done. But he would need a separate one for each video for the creative, for the video itself. Not for him just being a model in the video. Yes. I guess roundtable post.
Yeah, as I say, is that a yet for me? So creative release. I'm trying to get them together for the Ansteorra Lace Guild. We have multiple where we give out lace gifts to their majesties. You can't do a blanket lace gift, picture of lace gift. It has
I mean, for pictures, I've made exceptions on that because, like, for like, especially like the last special edition we did, I'm like, someone just did all my photos, listing each one in one single form. That was fine. You don't need multiple forms, but they all do need to be specified. And if they're separate things, if it's just like pictures of lace, multiple pictures of lace, do one form.
I've got that one taken care of because I'm the photographer of the lace.
Yeah, just do one form for that.
I did a blanket. I've got a blanket photographer release on.
Yeah, if you just have a blanket release anyway, you're already covered. Whatever you do as the photographer is already covered.
I'm talking about the individual people who made the lace. It's a creative release. They may be making lace for future crowns. Do they have to fill out every time? Or can they do a blanket for all future lace gifts from the Lace Guild?
That's one of those. That's a weird thing because it's not, unless there's like something specific about it. It's
their name is not on the piece of
because unless it's just a picture of lace functionally, it's not, unless like there's something that identifies it with them in the picture. I don't think there'd be an issue.
Thank you.
Now, if you're putting like who's did what,
that's
a different story.
Yeah, we are. Okay. That's
the thing though. It's such a kind of, not saying it's generic in the sense that like it's not like good or something, but because like you do a painting, but they're also, I'd say probably to be safe, but no one's going to come asking either.
Okay. And it is for Wikipedia.
Like the wiki or Wikipedia itself, like the main page.
Wiki page.
For the wiki page, they get very picky.
Okay.
I would say you have to get one if it's for that page specifically. It would be safer to have them all fill one out.
But if for some reason we were able to get a special edition together and use the pictures for the lace, we would still we could use the same releases that we did for the wiki pages as well.
If they fill out a generic release, yes.
Okay, awesome.
If they specify like it's for this, but not the other, they'd have to fill it out again.
Okay.
But if you're going to go on the wiki page, she's very strict about having a generic releases filled out for everything.
Good deal. I can handle that.
But she needs to see a physical form. Like she will not take just a text message. It has to be a physical.
Right. I knew that.
A digital form sent to her specifically, filled out correctly, with the signature on it. The signature is not technically required as long as it's coming from your email address. That's personal. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to say she's wrong to enforce a signature.
Right.
I'm not going to go say she has to do anything otherwise.
Well, definitely.
Well, just being more careful.
Better to be careful.
Yeah, like for Black Star covers, I literally just email and chat message a lot of people like, hey, any issue with this? No. Cool. Thank you. Because it's like most of the photographers have filled out a release already. And the person says, yes, I'm good to go. Jessamine.
I'm trying to understand because I do a lot, excuse me, I do a lot on the wiki as well and with Chronicle. And there is that overlap there when we're talking the releases. And like you said, you're in charge of all of them. So using Delphinus as an example, are you saying that if Bunny Fufu, let's just say Bunny Fufu is an SCA name, and Bunny Fufu made this piece of lace, and I'm putting a piece of Bunny Fufu's, a photo that I took of Bunny Fufu's lace on the Lace Guild Wiki, I have to have Bunny Fufu's permission to use a photograph that I took of their lace?
They have to give you permission. You have to get the permission of the person that made this. You have to get the permission of the subject in the picture, as well as the permission of the person taking said picture. So an example in the other thing was pretty straightforward. It was someone takes a picture of an oil painting of an SCA member, right? Okay. So you need the photographer's permission because they took the photo, but you also need a model release from the person that the oil painting is clearly of as a likeness in the image.
Sure. And I understand that because we are talking a portrait still, whether the photograph is the portrait or sometimes even illuminations. We often have portraitures on illuminations. But if I'm going to say I'm going to Kingdom A&S coming up in a couple of months, and I go to Kingdom S and I take pictures of things that people made, and I want to put those pictures that do not include a portrait. There's no face involved. It's a wooden bowl. If I put a picture of Bunny Fufu's beautiful wooden bowl in the newsletter, do I need Bunny Fufu's permission to put a picture of their bowl in the newsletter?
1 second. I'm looking that up real quick. Just so I don't give you anything that's wrong. Okay, so this pretty much fixes that. So this under Creative Works release, I'll just share this so you can see it.
Thank you.
So you see right there, Creative Works releases. You have to have one. But so the top one is like just text type stuff, right?
Yep.
But then it specifies sculptures, drawings, paintings, or calligraphy right here. So a picture of their thing would require the photographer and them himself as the person that made the piece.
Wow, that wipes out almost every picture we ever use now.
You'd be surprised. You wouldn't be surprised how many people do not do that far and how no one's asking questions.
This is the first time that it's come up with things other than, now see, and it's still weird with drawings and paintings and calligraphy.
And even they look original designs and crafts such as embroidery. It even says embroidery and stuff.
Well, but it's talking about the design, because there is a difference if I'm showing a picture of Delphina's lacework or if I'm showing the design of her lacework, which to me implies pattern, because that's copyright sometimes. Sometimes people's patterns are copyright. But wow, so that, because what we often do to avoid having to take releases at A&S, and we're all doing a class, we frequently avoid taking pictures of the person and take a picture of their wooden bowl. Bunny Fufu is making his wooden bowl at a class, and we take the picture just of his hands and the wooden bowl. But that wouldn't even work in this picture, in this scenario then, because that's still his creative work that he's making that carved bowl in a class that's being taught during A&S.
That would be my interpretation of this. However, it's not been enforced at all. to
Okay.
this level.
Yeah, today's conversation, that's why I was asking for clarification, because
Because you could draw something that's public domain, but now that's your drawing, which is a copy of a public domain one, but you drew it yourself.
well,
So
and
now that's your creative work, even though it's a public domain thing that already existed. You drew that particular copy of it.
yeah, and
That is
that's where I'm
your thing.
very confused. I do understand it with portraits, or with the sculpture, because so often with sculpture they tend to be of a person rather than, say,
I
Of
would
another
say
item.
it's a gray area. I would consider it a gray area of that no one's going to follow up on
okay.
for like lace work. Now,
Yeah,
if it's
well,
an
and
original
it's
pattern,
DNA
that's a
in it,
different
yeah.
story completely.
Sure, no, and I did understand that, and I only brought Lace Guild into it because that was the catalyst of the conversation. But
Like, unless y'all are advertising, these are our original lacework patterns. Now you
Sure.
have to have one.
yeah, I got that part. Okay, thank you so much. I don't want to like hijack the group.
Like, I'm not going to come
Thank
at. I'm not going to ask for like, if it's a generic pattern that's already out there, not an issue. Just put
Crystal
who.
asked, is this kingdom rules or society rules?
Oh no, these are society. This is the society document.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you see the address bar, sca.org. So this is at the society right here. Yeah,
I wasn't sure because it's
I would
not the
credit
whole
them with who did each
picture.
one if possible, but if you just took a bunch of pictures and you don't know, I wouldn't worry about it. Because
Thank
you
you.
wouldn't know anyway at this point, because there'd be no way of telling who did what. It's more of an issue when it's original stuff. That's where I would say, like, you need to make sure you're getting that individual one. I would also do it for like if you're going to try and publish someone's, even if it's a Kingdom Scroll that is a generic blank fill in the color, paint by numbers version, get the individual person's permission that did that one, because that is their color pattern that they did with it.
And see, and that's hard because we don't always know who the person that colored the scroll is,
Well,
especially
the
with
people on
charters.
the photographers from Facebook,
Mm-hmm,
I'm not gonna. I can't control them. They're not doing any official publications.
mm-hmm.
I have no control over that.
No, I meant for the newsletters. A lot of times for the local newsletter, we want to show that Bunny Foo Foo won a scroll for that beautiful wooden bowl and got a thistle. And so if we wanted to put a picture of the award, the thistle that they got at that event, and we want to put it next to the picture of that bowl, and we have his permissions for that, you see?
You're supposed to. You're supposed to put your name on it. If they don't put their name on it, it's anonymous, and just put by anonymous.
That fixed it. Thank you. I'm always looking for the fix, not the
Like if they don't
workaround,
write their
but the
name,
fix.
they're not worried about getting credit for it, as the thing says to write your name on it. So if they don't want to, put anonymous. By anonymous. It'd be done.
Thank you.
That's what all the photographers are doing when they take them on like the really cool of all the ones from like big Kingdom events. They're just like, oh, no one put down who it was. Anonymous. Like, I think I had 10 out there that aren't signed by me at some point that I'm sure were given out. But yeah, it's not hard. They just have to think about some of the scenarios are weirder than others or less common. But like if you don't know and you don't know where it came from, you don't know. You're just like, someone did it. And as long as you have the photographer's permission at that point, you're good to go. Because if they don't write on there somehow that it's their work, you don't know it's their work. But this is it's a good reference document if on the page. So let me try to get there from the start.
But I
So
do
may-
have a question.
1 second, real quick. So officers, chronicler, forms and resources right there. Okay, what's your question?
So if we are, say, at an event and we see that somebody is, or either we see or somebody comes up to us and talks about potentially having their ANS or a picture of the fighters in the saga or in the newsletters, would it be a good idea to go ahead and try to email them the correct forms at that moment and tell them to email them back as soon as those are filled out? If they, if they come up to us asking about it, what they need to do to get their ANS in the saga or their photos in the saga.
I mean, they just for ANS, you definitely need a form. Like if they take the picture, you need the photographer form, and you also need the creative work form. You would need both if it's from a person that did it and they sent you a picture of it.
All right, and pretty much what I'm asking is, would it be a good idea to get their information and email it right then?
I would. Now,
that
if you're
way-
going there with that in mind, like where that's like, if you're at like Kingdom ANS and you want to use something somebody's done, like, and that's kind of your plan to go there, maybe bring a bunch of blank forms they can just fill out real quick, and you just can just take the picture of it and just have it on record.
All righty, good deal.
Like if you know you're going to be kind of like, oh, that'd be cool to use. Hey, can I use that? Awesome. Would you mind filling this out so I can use it on the whatever in my local newsletter? But you took the picture of it, so you don't need permission for that. You would just need
Okay.
their creative work release.
All right, that sounds great.
Because you're going to be referencing them by name specifically for sure.
Definitely.
Versus like a table of stuff, you don't need to identify each piece for every person. You're just like ANS projects at Kingdom ANS, table full of stuff. Photographer release is all you need there. Unless you call out a specific piece, don't worry about it. If it's like that kind of display.
All righty, that answered my question. Thank you so much.
Any other questions? But like my general go-to is if I'm in doubt, I'd rather get a form just to not risk someone. Like no one's ever come back and said, I don't want that thing on the site or something. I've never seen it, but it might have happened before. I've never heard about it though. But filling a form is not the end of the world. And if someone really doesn't want to fill it out, I mean, I've had people that just don't want to fill it out. There, I already said yes and verbally, and like, okay. But if you're going to put it in your newsletter, you do kind of need that physical paper or digital copy, at least for the photograph portion. If they say they don't mind being a model, okay, whatever. But you need at least to make sure the photographer has a general lease on file, or waiver on file, and you're good to go. I think most of them do at this point. I've actually thought about going the next event I'm at and just carrying around some general photographer release forms and just asking the photographers to sign them so I can make sure that they have them on file for some of the smaller groups.
I think that's definitely a good idea. That was going to be another question of mine.
Like especially a kingdom event, like where you're going to have a lot of more people showing up, like in a more central location. Anybody taking pictures of a lot of people, just think, hey, I know you're doing pictures. Would you mind filling this out so we can have it on file for if anybody wants to use them for like their newsletters or stuff? Because they usually post their stuff online. Now you would need to get the people in the photos specifically permission, model releases, but you'd be covered for the photos themselves.
Attach model releases to the event registration.
Wish you could do that, but you can't. They can do general waivers for like safety and stuff now, but I don't believe they allow release and publication waivers through AMP or something like that.
Okay.
Trust me, it's been talked about, and people would love if you could, including like social media and the web minister, but society does not allow that for some reason. You'd think they would for like the generic ones, like overall permissions ones, but not for specific stuff. I kind of get not specific stuff, but generic photograph permissions, it seems like something you could do as a photographer in AMP and be like, oh yeah, they're good. They said you can do it.
If they would do the general photo, it would definitely be good for if somebody got caught in the background of another photo.
Oh, if they're in the background, don't worry about it. Like if they're obviously the background, like they're not in the focus of whatever you're doing. Background people do not need a waiver. As long as you're in a public place at the event. So like the open areas, common areas, yeah, they don't need a waiver if they're in the background. If you're in like the private, like quiet zones where it like there's kind of an expectation of privacy and quietness, that's a different story. Because I've never seen people taking photos in those areas, but
We have 9 minutes till 3 o'clock.
okay. That's pretty much it. Do you have any
One more.
questions? Sorry, what?
How long do the releases last?
In perpetuity, in fact, as long as you signed one while you were alive. I'm assuming
Okay.
it's a generic all release.
Okay.
Now, if someone has unfortunately passed away and they haven't filled one out, there are things you can do to get permission to use something with their photo in it. Like someone passes away, you want to do a memorial piece in a newsletter or something like that. You can do that, but you need to get permission from a surviving spouse specifically.
What if they don't have a spouse or
If they have no one,
relative or
you basically can't do anything.
Okay.
You'd have to somehow find someone that would have authority over their estate, which at that point, I guess would be the state, and good luck getting anybody from the state to care enough about our group.
Is that in the rules?
It is, and I don't remember where specifically for that one, because if you
It's in the
can't,
release handout book though?
I don't know if it's in that. I don't think
Okay.
it covers estates like that, but the issue has come up before.
Okay.
And you need permission from somebody that has legal authority over their likeness in some way, shape, or form, which
Yeah.
would be their surviving heirs or their estate trustee or something.
Okay.
So that would be the person to go to.
On purpose, by the way.
So we can, like, extending that question, is there what's like the procedure if somebody wants to like rescind their media release like form?
All they have to do is let you know in writing somehow.
Okay,
Technically, verbal would count, but writing is the way you would want them to send it to you, just so there's no question.
gotcha. Okay, I see.
They ask you verbally, do it anyway, but it's better if it's in writing because then
And
it's
then-
obvious that it happened.
A follow-up question on that. When they let us know that they've rescinded, and if they send us that written, should we send that to our higher ups, you?
I've never seen someone rescind something, but yes, please do that.
Okay.
I don't know whether it's actually rescinded anything, but I'm sure it's not impossible. Sorry, Jessamine.
That sort of answered some of my question. With rescinding or not rescinding, or how long they're good for, it depends on which box they checked. On creative work, sometimes they will say you can publish it one time.
Yeah, they yeah. Sorry.
Yeah, so that I'm just saying, I'm with a lot of my artwork, I'm very specific. If it's a map, when I do a map for a group, whatever the group is, I do a lot of the event ads. I give it to that group. I just say it's perpetual. So that's on file at any point if it's something like a map. But if it's cover art or any other art that I'm doing, I don't have blanket releases. I do not do blanket releases for my art and my creative works. And they're usually a one time, or it says no more than a couple of times if it's something for like the Black Star and they're using it. So releases can expire, and some people will even say on photo releases, I've seen photo releases that say from this event, and they quantify it that, you know, if I'm at Kingdom A&S, you can take my picture, but if I'm at the Steps Yule, then you better not. So releases can be very specific, and that makes some models more comfortable too. They're comfortable saying, oh, if I'm at this event, take my picture. I guess a lot of people do open-ended with model releases. They're like all or nothing, I guess. I don't know. That
For the most part, most model releases I've seen are just open-ended blanket for most how many people fill them out. But now there's a lot of stuff for special editions that are exclusive, like specifically from you. They're still in those files that are very specifically to that Black Star special edition, and they can only be used there. But it has to be specified when they fill it out. So just see what they're filling out and see if it's blanket or just
correct. Yeah, and that's
right there.
Keeping them in your records and making sure that within your files, within your officer thing, you can find them. Because yeah, I'm definitely one of those that I am very specific. If it's art that I've created for a specific newsletter, I'm usually very specific that it's for that newsletter only.
Yeah, like I get a lot that there's a lot in file that are very specific, but most photographer releases are not. Most model releases are not. If it's just a random SCA person, like, oh, sure, go ahead and use my photo. But if they say go ahead and use it from this specific place, that's not implying a generic thing. That implies that photo they're okay with, unless they fill out a specific physical release form that says all the time. You would have to imply that and take the implication that this photo is okay to be safe. So like I don't take them as any photo of you is okay unless they specifically say so. I think that's it. It's 3:00. If you have any more questions, you can email me.